You are now watching the Queen Chioma.
Yup, 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 yup.
So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition and TV show review. So I've decided to implement show reviews on my channel because in my free time, I really do enjoy watching reality TV and Netflix now, which is crazy because for a long time I just didn't. But I also think that this is something that you all may enjoy. So today I have decided to talk about the show JOSELIN'S Cabaret Season 2 in Atlanta. Now this show has curated so many viral memes over the past few months as it aired. And because of how explicit, ratchet, and entertaining the show is, it definitely caught my attention. So originally, I wasn't going to watch the show because I usually just don't take a liking to this type of stuff, but I guess hats off to Jocelyn and the entire cast for somehow suckering me into watching the entire season and actually anticipating the release of each episode. So JOSELIN'S Cabaret stars Joselin Hernandez, who is a TV personality and former stripper. She got her TV debut on the show Love and Hip Hop Atlanta back in 2012. She is infamous for dating and having a baby by producer Stevie J, and all of her physical and verbal antics that have been a staple to urban pop culture over the past decade. Joselin Hernandez is an entertainer, and she comes from the stripping background as she got her come up in Miami, and that directly translates to why she now has this show, JOSELIN'S Cabaret. Now, the show consists of Jocelyn really being a pimp, in a sense, to 10 other strippers who live in a large mansion in Atlanta. All of the strippers are competing to win a $10,000 prize and be in Jocelyn's season-ending cabaret event. The girls all have stories, some of which are really touching, and most of them have the common denominator that they all want to showcase their stripping talent and use the money and clout from the show to further their careers, whether that's in stripping or something else. So my overall opinion of the show is JOSELIN'S Cabaret is a glorified shit show. Like, honestly, it has addictive powers because it's so ratchet. It makes you want to watch a whole bunch of women doing things that you wouldn't even think about doing or saying publicly. And then it's also like, yo, like, this shit is bottom of the barrel garbage, and Jocelyn is really a lunatic Looney Tune for even co-signing this mess. I rate the show a 5 out of 10, and I give it a 5 because, yes, I was entertained, but at the end of the day, the premise, the cinematography, and Jocelyn herself just drove me to wish I got my 45 minutes back at the end of each episode. So I've broken my review down into 5 main talking points, so let's get right into this video. So point number 1 is the cast members. So I think that the distinctive cast members on season 2 is what made this show very successful. Season 1, I didn't like any of those girls, and even though Lucky did come onto season 2, I feel like her character development in season 1 just made me not like any of them at all. Chastity and whoever the other girl was, they were bullies, and they were very colorist, and they were very weak. And Lucky and the other girl who is friends with Lucky, of course, I'm going to favor them because they weren't as problematic, but nonetheless, all of those girls are very ratchet, and I think with season 2, they even got more ratchet. So going down the list, we have Lexi Blow. I liked her. She didn't really come off as problematic. She seemed to be there for the right reasons. She was neutral about a lot and was the only person that didn't do anything to embarrass herself, in my opinion. Aqua, I was trying to like Aqua, but I realized that she has no backbone. And yes, she should have stood up to Big Lex the times that she did, but the way how she went about it was just really lame. The fact that Jocelyn turned her back on her, but then at the reunion, Jocelyn was trying to be cool and invite her back for season 3, just shows Aqua is easily influenced. I was like, wow, like wow. Chanel, I think she was overall boring. I never really got into her. I never got to know much about her. I think she was just put on this show to be that neutral person that nobody really has anything bad to say about, but she's not really a memorable person at the end of the day. Congrats to her for winning overall, but I was like yawn with her most of the time. Like, it was really kind of boring. Yummy, I actually thought Yummy was nuts. Like, from head to toe, she's a lunatic, but I liked her craziness kinda. I think she really brought diversity to the show because she doesn't have the stereotypical stripper look. You could tell she could dance and she was very talented, but overall she was several eggs short of a dozen. Now, Boss Tech, she was like my preseason favorite. I thought I was really gonna like her because she seemed like she could actually really dance and that she was an entertainer, and she also seemed like she had a good personality. But the more the show went on, I was like, this girl has a serious drinking problem that she really does have to get together. But more so, I feel like she wasn't there for the right reasons. I was turned off by the fact that she has grown kids but was acting like a sloppy salami sandwich the entire show. I think she thought she had everything in the bag because she was the most recognizable girl next to Ms. Natural, but she was fighting her own demons, and it led to her demise in the show. Now, Big Lex, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like Big Lex at first. I thought she was very loudmouth, very negative. She came off like the bully of the show. And when I watch reality TV, I never really side with the girls who are such big, tough bullies because I really feel like there's no reason to be that way, especially when you don't know anybody. I feel like her double homicide joke was very insensitive, and she never apologized for it, which I thought was really lame because woman to woman, you made fun of somebody while they were really dealing with an insensitive situation. And the comment that was made at the reunion about her having a daughter and not really being around her daughter, to me, that should have been enough for her to at least apologize to Aqua. And even though Jocelyn should not have said that because she obviously didn't want people to know she had a kid, I still feel like that was wrong. But I did like that she stood in her shit. Like, I feel like at the reunion, I had to agree with almost everything that she was saying because she didn't allow herself to be played like the rest of these girls. I do feel like at times she was a bit too much. She was definitely very rude, but she is who she is, and I grew to like her a little bit more towards the end. As for Barbie, she didn't really stay on the show long enough for me to form any type of real developmental impression about her, but I will say overall, she was a no. Like, she looks a mess. The fact that she sat there and said, "I'm not a stripper, I'm a hoe," when I tell you that shit sent me. Like, I've never heard somebody just say it like that. I was like, well, damn, at least you're honest. But I think it was very right for her to say that. She wasn't there to dance. She's not a dancer. She's a paid hoe, and that's what she does. But I hope she does know that she's not a bad bitch and that she looks a mess. Like, the lip injections are too much, and if she just tuned it down a little bit, she wouldn't even look that bad. Less is way more in her case. Now, moving on to Lucky, I feel like Lucky only did season 2 to redeem herself. In season 1, she looked very weak. She looked like all she could do was be bullied, and she looked like she was just following behind the footsteps of the other girl. I think her name was Dream or Jay, something like that. I feel like this time around, she wasn't being herself. I feel like she was trying to do all that tough talk and acting big and bold because she was the only returning cast member. I don't really think that Lucky was somebody who displayed her true, authentic self. Like, I like her. I think she's the most beautiful girl on the show, but she really is far gone. It surprised me that her and I are actually the same age, and I think that her talents are needed somewhere apart from Jocelyn. She worships Jocelyn for giving her this opportunity and this platform, and you can thank her for that, but the way how she kisses Jocelyn's ass and took being the captain to head, it was just like, Lucky, you can do bad all by yourself. Now, Sapphire, I actually liked Sapphire to an extent. I feel like she was very much the mom of the group. Even in season 1, she was off to the side and she stood in her true self. She didn't let anybody talk about her any type of way, and she kind of seemed to be the voice of reason a lot. And I was really rocking with her for a while up until like the end. Sapphire has a loud mouth. Like, she just likes to scream and hear herself talk. All I could ever hear was this girl yelling at the top of her lungs. And I don't know, it was probably the liquor because when I drink, and I really don't drink, I can't remember the last time that I did, but liquor gonna turn me up to that level as well. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, shut up. Like, you are loud. I do like her story though. I like the fact that she was trying to encourage a lot of the girls to not be so enamored by the quick money that stripping can make you. The fact that Sapphire was 33 still dancing and she was trying to be a mentor to the young girls, I did like that. And at the reunion, I like that she stood in her campaign of basically saying F Jocelyn, because what Jocelyn said about her child's father being murdered was very insensitive and rude, especially during that time. But at the same time, Sapphire, you still sat up on that stage after that woman disrespected the father of your children, so it's only so much credit that I can give you. And lastly, Ms. Natural. Now, I don't care what anybody says, Ms. Natural made this show. She was the best girl on the show. She had the talent. She came there to dance. She kept her business to herself, and she really did try to get along with everybody. I feel like because she has such a firm sense of self and also trying to get herself out of such a terrible perception and reputation since she has been a porn star, she came there really to redeem herself through her actual talent of dancing. And Jocelyn cannot stand the fact that Ms. Natural was who she was and that she embodied a lot of what Jocelyn wishes that she had within herself, and that was what created most of the conflict on the show. I liked Ms. Natural. I'm glad Ms. Natural spoke her shit towards the end, and I'm glad she walked off as classy as she possibly could. So the cast of season 2 honestly was perfectly cast, no pun intended, for this type of show. I will give Jocelyn her credit. She chose the exact type of people that she needed to make this show be successful as it was, and I think having such a diverse set of women in looks and background, hometowns, and intentions created a reality TV masterpiece. Even though this show is still completely trash ratchivity, I think the casting was great overall. Now, point number 2 is failure of the premise. So the premise of the show was that 10 girls who were all strippers came to a house to compete for $10,000 and perform in Joselines Cabaret. I'm assuming the end goal was all for them to boost their careers as entertainers, or at the very least reap the benefits of having this platform to expose themselves to getting more bookings, being social media influencers, and also showcasing their talent. And all in all, I think that was a severe failure. That did not happen whatsoever. First point of contention for me was, why was the prize money only $10,000? And I'm not saying $10,000 is a little bit of money, but I feel like for a show that has the highest grossing and highest rated show on Zeus Network, these girls could have at least walked away with $25,000 as a winner. You're taking these girls from their houses and their families and everything they do, putting them in a house for a few months, make them perform something as physically demanding as stripping to walk away with $10,000 that they probably could have made from one weekend stripping in Vegas or somewhere. To me, that was just a little bit too low. But hell, who am I? Nonetheless, all of these ladies seem to somewhat be talented in dancing, with the exception of Barbie. And Chanel, I don't know, she did kind of get it together towards the end, but I would have liked to have seen more dancing. With a show like this, obviously you're going to get ratchet, the fights, the drama, the back and forth. That was bound to happen anyway. You could put 10 nuns on a reality TV show and the sisters may disagree in the name of the convent. So I don't understand the point of not showcasing what they were there to do, which was dancing. And Ms. Natural kept making the note that she was there to dance. She is there to show her talent. And out of all of the episodes, we barely got to see those girls dance. Maybe twice at the beginning and then a few times at the end when they were actually preparing for the cabaret. I feel like Joseline should have picked girls who were actually really, really talented at dancing. There are so many talented strippers all over the US that could have really came there to perform. Ms. Natural definitely being one of them. The rest of them seemed like they were there for the wrong reasons, and I would have liked to see how talented pole dancers can be and then also watch the ratchet that comes with it. But Joseline pretty much trashed her premise of the show to bully and degrade these women for the sake of a check, which I'll get into very soon. But I don't think the premise was met at all. I don't think these ladies got a chance to really do what they came there to do. And if you ask me, it was really false advertisement for not only a viewer, but as a cast member, because the cabaret should have been way more developed than it was. The cabaret in season 1, I don't even think it ever happened. Like, I don't even remember seeing an actual show. And then for season 2, that wasn't a cabaret. That was a club hosting. It wasn't even that many people there. Like, for the show to be this successful and to be in Atlanta, home of probably the best strippers, this cabaret should have been massive. I expected to see them at the best strip club in Atlanta. I expected to see all of the girls really shaking it up, really doing tricks, climbing the pole, spinning down on one leg. I wanted to see that, and that was never showcased to us as viewers. So the premise overall wasn't met, like, at all. Now, point number 3 is Joseline degrading these women. Now, I think this is the heftiest and most obvious point. Joseline herself is very insecure. She's very power hungry, and she does not take well to anybody being any type of better than her. She can't deal with people speaking better than her. She can't deal with people being more talented than her. She can't deal with people looking better than her. She can't even deal with somebody coughing while she speaks. This woman went off on somebody for coughing, got in her face and yelled at her for coughing. And to be honest, I don't know if it's just Joseline or that she does this for cameras or if she's on drugs or a mix of all three, but I was just completely turned off by how she treated these women. And it was the fact that she was so sporadic and so flip-floppy. One second she's praising one of the girls, telling her that everybody should be more like her, but then in the next second she doesn't like that girl. She's calling them all types of bitches, all types of degrading names. Like, I just couldn't keep up. Now, I do think it is smart for her to imply her dominance over these women, being that, yes, this is her brand, her show, her business, but there's a way to do that without degrading somebody. And the fact that these ladies allowed themselves to be degraded by Joseline just shows that none of them had any level of high self-esteem. Even Big Lex, who was really the big boss of the group, she allowed herself to be on a show that lets the host/executive producer talk down on her and others. I just couldn't look past that the entire time I was watching. I feel like Joseline needs to understand that there's going to be people who exceed her in certain ways, and everyone respected her for giving them the platform and respected the fact that she put all of this together. Like, nobody was taking that away from her, but it's like as soon as you disagree with her just one little bit, as soon as someone did something that she deemed against her wishes, you got verbally slaughtered by her, to the point where I would never even say those things to somebody. I'm not going to camouflage or write it off as, well, it's her show. Yes, it's her show, but those girls made her show as well. It wouldn't be Joseline's cabaret without the girls who are competing to be in the cabaret. Nonetheless, it made for good TV, but I just couldn't look past that. Not to mention, how dare Joseline come for Wendy Williams, saying that she's always putting down black women and that she's never here to uplift black women, knowing that Wendy Williams is a TV personality/radio personality who reports on rumors, celebrities, and is a part of the media that would even keep a show like Joseline's Cabaret in people's interest. Yet, as soon as we see how you talk to other black women on the show, she was way worse than Wendy has ever been. Like, Wendy has never berated anybody to that extent from my knowledge. So I feel like Joseline is full of shit for her whole rampage. She's the type of person that likes to throw stones and hide her hands as if she's better than somebody. And although she looks good, and I mean, she looked good in every scene, every outfit, hairstyle, makeup was slayed the entire season, but behind all of that was still an ugly person, and I just have to keep it real. Now, point number 4 is the conflicts. So let's talk about some of the conflicts that were on the show. Honestly, I watched this about a month and a half ago, so I don't necessarily remember everything, but from my recollection, the main conflicts were between Barbie and Lucky, Big Lex and Aqua/Boss Tech, and then Natural, Yummy, and Joseline. So as it relates to Barbie and Lucky, it was very short-lived. Honestly, I felt like Barbie was doing what any proud hoe would do. And when I say hoe, I mean means somebody who really works as a hoe, and that is stick up for her pimp / her manager, as she liked to call it. And Lucky tried to maintain her innocence in the situation, and honestly, if you ask me, Lucky is really not that tough. Like, only with certain people she is. And I feel like because most of the girls are going to rally behind Lucky, being that she was initially one of Joseline's top people, that's why she was going so hard on Barbie. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't really have any like for Barbie either. I feel like she was doing a lot of talking with them big ass injections in her lips. And like Joseline said, if you're gonna pop your dick suckers, then hell, you're gonna have to back it up. And I think Lucky definitely snuck Barbie the first time around. Like, she really got her. I was like, yo, like, that's wow. But when they were one-on-one, Lucky still whooped her. So Barbie maintained that she can't fight, she doesn't fight, and she's not a stripper. So I feel like Barbie was very honest with a lot of the stuff that she was saying. And even when it came to the reunion, she gracefully took her L. And she kind of laughed about it, so at least she was a good sport in the end. Now, moving on to Big Lex and Aqua / Boss Tech. Initially, I was on the side of Aqua and Boss Tech because I felt like Big Lex was just being a bully. She came in there with guns a-blazing, and I feel like it was kind of for no reason. Initially, everyone is still getting to know one another, and Big Lex didn't necessarily give anybody a chance. Her whole entire issue was that Aqua shouldn't have shared that information of aborting twins, and although that is true, Aqua did share the information. So why decide to make her feel less of herself by saying double homicide in such a vulnerable moment? And I don't even want to paint strippers with the brush that they can't be empathetic towards women, because I think that's false. I feel like in a career that forces you to work with so many other women, I would have expected Big Lex to just be a little bit more empathetic towards Aqua's situation, because Aqua could have been sitting at home very much depressed and not trying to make a better life for herself, but she did decide to go on national television and do something for herself, and I guess I can commend that. So to try and tear her down in a time of vulnerability, I thought that was kind of lame. Like, it was really corny. But Big Lex has them hands, and each time Aqua ran up, she got pushed down. And even when Boss Tech was trying to have her one-on-one with Big Lex, it was still pretty much equally yoked, but it was really more of a screaming match more than anything. I barely got to see any action. And I feel like Boss Tech was just kind of sticking up for Aqua even after Aqua left the house. I don't think they're ever really going to resolve their issues. I think Big Lex is way too ignorant and stuck in her ways to see past how wrong she was in that moment. But at the same time, Aqua could have kept that to herself. Now, for the main conflict, which contrived a lot of the last few episodes of the season, Yummy versus Natural, and obviously Joseline was intertwined in this. This entire back and forth gave me a headache because honestly, all of the parties were right and wrong in so many ways. So the conflict stemmed from Natural and Yummy falling out because, well, to be honest, I don't even know. Something about how Yummy was being fake and how Yummy felt that people were jealous of her because she was the captain and then she wasn't. To be honest, I really don't remember why they were beefing. All I do remember is when Yummy and Joseline and Natural sat down to try and get to the bottom of it, Yummy made a comment to Natural stating that Joseline said that she didn't want Natural in the house. And because Yummy, in a sense, threw Joseline underneath the bus, Joseline completely hated Yummy from that point on. And what I didn't understand is that, yes, Yummy should have probably kept that to herself, but Joseline, how are you always going to preach about how you want real bitches and that you're a real bitch, all while you speak so poorly about these girls and degrade them, but then when someone holds you to task for something that you said about one of the other cast members, all of a sudden you deflect by putting your anger towards that person who outed you? Why not just stand in what you say? If that's how you felt in the moment, then just speak on that. Was it Yummy's place to speak? No, but at the same time, who cares? Like, everyone here is grown. She doesn't owe you any loyalty. And then Natural, I thought Miss Natural was doing a little bit too much because she knew that she was the best girl out here. Like, she didn't really have to have any explanation for anything or a whole back and forth with Joseline, holding Joseline to task. And that's what really even made me keep watching the show. When they had that conversation in the bedroom, she called Joseline out on a lot of her lies and her words. She kept telling Joseline, no, I never said that. Let me tell you what I actually said. And Joseline was just sitting there looking dumbfounded because Joseline talks too damn much. She doesn't even comprehend what she's saying. Like, she doesn't even realize when she's wrong. In the end, when Joseline was trying to select which girls were going to make it into the cabaret, I thought it was very messy for her to put Yummy up against Miss Natural, especially being that they were the most talented dancers out of everybody. And then Yummy decided to get revenge and sneak Natural while she was bent over, and that's pretty much how Yummy went out. Also, she got into it with Chanel on her way out, but that notwithstanding, the entire conflict was like 3 episodes long and into the reunion, and because this show was very dense and didn't have much usable content, it relied heavily on the conflicts to keep it going. I feel like Zeus could have done a better job with finding a happy medium between the conflicts and the actual premise of the show, and a lot of their shows are like this. I even watched Baddies ATL, and I was going to do a video on that. If you guys want me to do that, just let me know, because that was such a snooze fest and it was another shit show. Point number 5 is the reunion. So this reunion, hands down, pissed me off. Not only of the same reasons why the show made me mad, such as being degrading and lack of real content, the overall show showcasing what really seemed to be B-roll footage, but simply because it was very undeveloped. First, issue. The host was beautiful, but very unnecessary. They were better off hiring me. Like, I would have been there making sure to ask all the right questions, allowing everybody to speak, as well as making sure that these girls actually got to have an adequate reunion. I feel like she was way too classy to be hosting this type of reunion. And then Lunel, honey, no. Okay? Like, because no. And in conclusion, no. Lunel's entire purpose at the reunion was very much not needed. Not only was she very biased, she had no real reason to be there. The fact that she tried to come for natural and call her crazy and then say that she should be grateful to Joseline for giving her a platform, let's cut the malarkey and cut it quickly. And I want it to be cut so fast that Usain Bolt can't outrun it because we're cutting the malarkey very quickly. I particularly could not stand the fact that Lunel was even on that stage. Her jokes did not hit. She wasn't the celebrity guest that it was supposed to be hyped up to be. And I feel like if she was going to be there for any purpose, she should have just been an unbiased host. Next time, Zeus, y'all can just hire me if they need somebody to come and actually speak to the girls prior to the reunion, because she didn't make the reunion any more or less better than it could have been without her. Now, moving on, I thought the reunion was the worst part of the entire series because nobody got to speak. It wasn't a real reunion, and it was more focused on Joseline being degrading, and Joseline was acting as if she was still on Love and Hip Hop. She didn't comport herself like a businesswoman or an executive producer of this entire series. She dropped the ball in so many ways, and I don't think she understands how much she embarrassed herself. And yes, she's going to have a season 3 just because the show is highly viewed and, in a sense, a person's guilty pleasure, but she turned off a lot of people with her antics, and it's like she can't stand to hear the other girls talk, but then you want them to give you praise for putting them on and giving them a platform. Like, which one is it? It just pissed me off the entire time that we couldn't even get to the bottom of why certain girls had beef, what they took away from the experience. The whole winner of the show, Chanel, barely got to even speak on her experience, what she's done with the money since she's had it, you know, how this is affecting her, etc. And you want to know why the reunion was a shit show? Because the show is also a shit show. The show didn't maintain the original purpose of a competition for these girls to win money for being the best entertainer for the cabaret, when the entire show is basically degrading these girls and creating a whole bunch of meaningless conflict that doesn't need to happen. That's all the show is going to be about. And I know Zeus is low budget, but at the end when they were talking about how they have to wrap it up because people have to go home and we already have a budget of time that we allotted to this, I was like, absolutely not. If y'all chose to shoot the BS and not focus on what exactly the cast and the host should have been talking about, then that's Zeus's fault. They wasted their time and money because they turned a lot of viewers off for having such a bad reunion that ended prematurely. I wanted to hear every girl speak on their situation and their experience. I think Joseline should have been brought out towards the end so that every girl could speak, and I really did want the host to actually ask questions from viewers and fans, and we did not get that at all. So honestly, the entire reunion was probably the worst part of the series. They could have just ended it off with the cabaret and called it a day if the reunion was going to be that poorly put together. So overall, Joseline's Cabaret, like I said before, it was a 5 out of 10 for me, and the only reason why I can give it the points that I gave was because it actually did have a decent build up during the progression of the episodes, but it just ended catastrophically. I was still entertained by it. I didn't expect it to be as explicit as it was. I was seeing booty and titties and cooter cat and some more, and I think the cast is what made the show. Joseline didn't even make her own show, to be honest. For season 3, it said that they're going to be in Vegas, which I think is a good market for a show like this. I hope that Joseline goes into season 3 understanding that she has to allow these girls to do what the premise of the show is meant for. If you just want to sit there and talk shit about all of your cast members, then don't make the premise of the show a competition to pick the best dancer, because that's not what I got from this. It was giving Lipstick Alley chat room. It was giving Yo Mama joke battle. It was giving 8th grade bathroom bully. It was giving a platform for insecurity. It was giving everything that I didn't expect it to give because it was just so overt. Of course, Joseline is going to be very sharp at the mouth, and of course the show is about exotic dancers, so it's not going to be the most positive thing, but this one was way below the belt. Nonetheless, I'm still going to watch season 3 only because I want to see what changes are made, but this wasn't a good look for women, period. It's not even about being a bad look for black women because that's obvious, but for women of all denominations, it just made women look way more catty than we probably really are. The show could have been executed successfully and still maintained everyone's individual characteristics, but there was zero integrity, zero individuality in regards to people being allowed to be themselves, and the Zeus network does a terrible job filming. All they do is post B-roll footage or footage that seems like it should have been cut out of final edits, or footage that seems like it was shot on an iPhone. Like, it doesn't give me quality production, and I hope they upgrade for season 3, and that also goes for Baddies ATL because that was another disaster of its own. Again, if y'all want me to review that, just let me know, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I hope y'all think I did a good job at this review. I tried to cover everything I could remember and speak on all of the highlights, but yeah, overall, I can't really say much much good about this show other than I was entertained. Joselines Cabaret was way more horrendous than I expected it to be. This was a show that so many people told me to watch, and I didn't take anything away from it other than it could never be me. So that is it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Please leave your commentary on my commentary down below. My Instagram page is still being worked on, so please follow my new one while you're at it. I will have that pinned in the comment section down below for y'all to follow me. Don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media networks, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys. So much money, it's like I'm playing Mac games. Yeah, they call me Queen, and Chioma is the last name. Long way from North 3rd Street, long way from Northeast. Baby Glock with no baby. I want a 7 Series Mercedes, and I know you mad if you play me. It's still a few of y'all that hate me. Neck white, ice dripping rabies. Wrist frostbite, please save me. New fit on and it's rainy. Roll the scepter out, Allegheny. Up all night while you snoozing. At the W while you losing. Toes all white, yeah they cooning. 9 strokes in, now he oozing. So stop like a red light, you sweet like a big lips, nice hips, body looking hash brown. Ha, 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 ha. The best girls come from Nigeria. Y'all are not fitting the criteria. Black queens gon' hell, superior. And now I'm ballin', they phony, I'm not calling. I'm super grown, out robbing, they in my mouth, I'm flossing. I take you out like garbage, kill shit, bring a coffin. I ain't with that nonsense, I'm broken and I'm pop. Not the Wayne, but I'm rockin'. They drum me, so I'm locked. They never catch me lacking, taking over hacking. I'm the cat.